In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 profitable business opportunities that you can run from wherever you are in the diaspora that'll help you change the African narrative and make more money in the process. Let's get into it. What's up, my name is Aries and welcome to my channel. Just like I did in my previous video where I listed out some of the most profitable business ideas that you can implement on the continent, I'm going to tackle each and every business opportunity in this video from 5 different angles. Number 1, why did I pick this one? In other words, why do I like this and I think it's a great opportunity? Number 2, what are some trends, some data around this opportunity? Number 3, what are some examples or ways you can go out and implement those, or different ideas of how they had been implemented? Number 4, I'm going to touch on some startup costs, how much capital you need to get started with this opportunity. And number 5, I'm going to touch on some challenges or some of the things to watch out for, because in each and every business or each and every opportunity, there are some things to watch out for. Number 1, thanks to the internet, you do have the opportunity to help businesses grow. You have businesses, small, large, and then you have folks who could be potential prospect or potential customer to these businesses. You put yourself in the middle, you go out and talk to these businesses and tell them, hey, you need more customers. I can help you get more customers. And then you created yourself a digital marketing company. Well, I think it's a fantastic opportunity because number 1, pretty much all businesses out there, they want to grow, they want to get more customers, but they just don't know how to leverage internet to help them get more customers. They know that's the way to go by, but they may not know how to do it for multiple reasons. And on the flip side, you have everybody in the modern online today, either on social media, doing emails, doing research on Google and YouTube. All that's missing is some business to bring them together in a strategic way. In terms of quick numbers, 63% problem that businesses have is around traffic and leads. In other words, how can I get more customers? And the other thing too is, I don't even know that I need to get you a number around this really, but every single body, even back home on the continent, everywhere in the world, folks are all online. Just look around you. Folks spend more time on social media. Folks spend more time on Google, YouTube, essentially on their device. Just go ahead and look around you. In terms of examples of how you can successfully implement this opportunity, you can look at plumbers, for example, and say, hey, I'm going to focus on bringing you more customers. All you have to pay me and I bring you more customers. Another way to look at it, focus on wealth managers. You have these people, these businesses who are essentially making a living off of the amount of investment or the amount of money they manage for their clients. You can tell them, hey, I'm going to bring you more clients, or I'm going to help you get more clients, because the more clients you have, you manage more money. Or another example is, you can look at a corner store or look at any local businesses. It could be a restaurant, it could be a bar, and tell them, hey, I'm going to bring you more customers. And then on the flip side, you're going to go online using your marketing knowledge and then bring them more customers. Now, in terms of startup costs, it's really negligible. I would say probably from $0 to $300. And then really the bulk of it is going to be simply around building the online presence, right? Building a website, maybe a social media, a way to capture your prospect information. The reason why I say 0 is that you can literally focus on simply have a Facebook page, right? Not build a website, or if you have the knowledge, you could do it yourself. But you can say, okay, you know what? For the first couple of customers, I'm basically going to go knock at doors. And then you go to restaurants, you go to plumbers, you say, hey, I can help you get more customers. And then you do more customers and say, hey, I can help you get more customers. And then you do your pitch right there and then. If you can close them, boom, there goes your first customer. Now, in terms of what to look out for, you probably got a sense from what I said earlier when I talked about examples that you need to niche down. You cannot just walk into a store or walk into a business and say, hey, I help any businesses get more money. Just put yourself in that foot. Imagine you walking up in there and saying, hey, I help any business make more money, versus the next person walking in and saying, I focus on surgeon or eye surgeon and I help them get more customers. Which one you think will resonate, prospect that surgeon? So I would say niche down. And the concept of niching down really has 2 components to it. You can niche down on your prospect, who you want to solve problem for, or you can niche down on your solution. I only focus on Facebook ads. I only focus on Google ads. I only focus on email marketing. I only focus on video marketing. Or you can do both together. You can say, hey, I only do Facebook ads for African owned businesses. The way I always looked at it is, The delivery part is always the easy part. Tough part is to go ahead and pitch and sell to that customer. Why should they buy from you versus from somebody else? Yeah. Moving on to business opportunity number 2, African cuisine. I mean African cuisine, not necessarily African restaurant. The reason why I'm picking this one is Africans, we are all over the world. But sometimes embarrassing where you go to a place, you have a business meeting, for example, and then you want to take a colleague or you ask a colleague for an African joint and you're trying to get something to eat. Either they don't know about it or the place is kind of sketchy or it's not really a place that you're proud to go to. But really the idea here is that there is an appeal, at least from folks that I've spoken with around me, there is an appeal to have African food and African dishes, maybe served in a different manner, but really have that flavor available so I can go and just grab it and eat it, or I can order it in. And the focus here is around quality and experience. Now in terms of data and trends, obviously there is a growing amount of Africans in the diaspora, either first, third generation, but really we are demanding those African flavors. We do have the means to pay for it, but on the flip side, I see a gap in closing that gap or addressing that demand. Couple examples of how it had been implemented. I heard of the Ikoyi London, which is an African restaurant, which I believe is the first African restaurant to earn a Michelin star. I had never been there, but I heard a lot of great things about it. That's one way to look at it. You can look on the flip side, I put a pop-up joint together. There were a few of those in New York where they get together and then provide an African cuisine experience, right? In startup costs, my humble opinion is the following. You can start with say $500 to $1,000, and then really that money will be put towards marketing. And then the idea is pre-sale your event. So don't start with a restaurant, start small. You can put all that money into pre-sale. And then with that, I'm touching a little bit in my 5th point, which is around what to be cautious about. So I'm going to say pre-sale your vision, pre-sale your product, pre-sale your event. Instead, you can put something together like, hey, the next weekend between the hours of 12 noon to 5 o'clock, we're inviting you to experience food from whatever country, right? You send videos, you send images, you make it appealing. So essentially what you're selling is not just the food, but also the experience that comes with it. Because sometimes the food is great, but folks who are not exposed to that culture may not know about it, or it may not be appealing to them. So make that appealing through experience, to great imagery, etc. And then really the way to look at it is if you're able to pre-sale 10, 20, 50 tickets, that'll give you a good indication as to how great you are at selling, right? Which is the number one skill set for an entrepreneur or somebody who's trying to get into business. And it gives you a good sense of what type of food you need to put together, what type of experience and ambience that people are looking for before you even spend the money. Now you can capture those funds, right? Let's just say you pre-sold those and then you get, I don't know, 10, 20, 5 grand, whatever the number is. You can flip back and turn around and say, hey guys, I've already have the fund. This is the type of event that I want to put together. This is the location that I want. You can try and get more partners to chip in, right? Because you already have the fund that will make you comfortable to inject more of one fund into that venture. The third profitable business opportunity is a big one in my opinion. Importing and selling African superfoods. So here we're talking about moringa, we're talking about shea, we talk about cassava. And then my reason why I see this one as a big one is around the diaspora and probably around the world and cautious about their health, right? They want to know where it came from. They want to make sure it's healthy. They want to make sure the proteins are there and all of that good stuff, right? And luckily back home, there's a lot of it. And there's a lot more research that is supporting the fact that African superfood is really good for your body. And just because you're importing those, you can charge a premium for it. That's my reason for going for this one. Now, in terms of data and trends, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a lot of more folks worried and focused and cautious about their health. But also look around, you see a lot more boutique shops, a lot more healthy type shops where people are really going in if they're looking for a healthy snack or a healthy meal, or if they want to put a shake together. So to me, I see it as a great opportunity to go in and be part of that space and really inject something exotic, something new, something fresh, and obviously support and change the narrative around Africa as saying, hey, in Africa, we have good stuff. Now, in terms of examples or what could be done here, you can can import cassava flour, you can import ginger in different form, you can process it down there back home or process it over here. You could also leverage the moringas, pea butter, and all that stuff. In terms of startup costs, my strong recommendation is to go in and sell first before going back home and asking all your family to, send you 10 tons of cassava or whatever. Just make sure you sell it over here first. So here's what I would say: prepare some marketing documents together, go in and knock on doors and say, hey, this is the business I'm into, this is what I'm selling over to you, and this is why you should buy it from me. And then always remember that, why should they buy from you versus from somebody else? What kind of benefits that your product and services have that maybe others don't? If you're able to pre-sell it, being transparent with them and tell them exactly what you're doing, you're essentially going to be able to collect some fund, and then that's going to be the ultimate sign of commitment from those shops, and tell them, okay, I'm going to deliver this to you in X amount of time. Now you're confident going back home or going back on the continent somewhere and tell them, okay, I need moringa in this or that form. In terms of what to watch out for and what really to be conscious about, I would say two things. One, don't go mainstream. Go with boutique shops, go with boutique niche stores, and then go premium. Because they're coming from overseas, Africa, because they are so healthy and have so many benefits, you can position it and say, okay, if you appreciate the value of this product, you'll be willing to pay more, versus somebody who will say, well, I don't care about your stuff. That's not your market, right? You really want to go after those who understand the value, who know what it is, and then who are willing to pay more. That's going to be my recommendation in terms of what to watch out for. Otherwise, you're going to put yourself in a situation where you're fighting for the cheapest number, and then you don't want to be in that market anyway. So avoid going mainstream, and really focus on being premium. I mean, you can go all the way up to creating your own brand. That's an advanced strategy, or you could talk about it a little time, but really focus on those who understand, who do have the need, and then basically serve that need. The fourth business idea here is in the tourism space, putting together a tour. Africa is popping right now. Everybody wants to go to Africa. Everybody want to know more about Africa. Now you can put together a tour, but a different one, not a safari or anything like that. You can put together a tour that touches on cultural tour, wellness tour, where you basically get some folks from overseas or from diaspora outside of Africa essentially, and tell them, okay, I'm going to take you on a tour where you can visit all the historical monuments and historical sites or cultural sites that we have in specific countries, right? You can put that together, or you can just focus on one country and say, okay, I'm going to take you to Senegal, or I'm going to take you to Zimbabwe and show you some of the castle that we have over there. So put marketing around it, and that's the reason why I think it's a great idea. There's a lot of excitement for Africa now, and then we don't want it to be a just now movement. We want it to be a forever movement, but we have to feed that fire. We have to give them a good reason to come to the continent to visit it, no matter where it is. I mean, north, west, south, east, central, wherever. Just put a tour together and make it appealing to them so that they can come visit the continent. Now, in terms of examples of what really you can do in terms of putting a tour together, you could do a ladies only tour, you could do a black something tour, you could do an agritourism tour where they go and visit how you plant cassava or how you harvest cassava or how you know what I'm saying, like those kind of agritourism tours. As I mentioned earlier, you could also do a culture tour, right? Well, they go out to the different coasts, going up from Ghana all the way down to Togo, Nigeria, Cameroon, Congo, and then show them the different experiences that the slave had going from the mainland all the way down to those boats. Or you could have a cultural tour that talks about of how people used to live on the continent, or you can put a tour together how people live together, or you can put together a tour that basically goes around the remote places in Africa to see how people live, right? For them to experience something new. Because imagine you coming from Toronto, you're coming from New York City, or you're coming from London, Paris, and that's all you know. You don't actually have to be a foreigner. You could actually be an African but never been to Africa, or maybe you've been to Africa, you've never been to Ethiopia, or maybe you've been to Ethiopia and but never been to the west, the south of the continent, and then you basically want to get to know your cousins. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean by cousin obviously is African from different areas, right? So you can put tours like that. Now, in terms of startup costs, it really depends on the type of tours you want to do. You can make it something, as I mentioned, agritourism. You can probably do cultural tour. You can also do more music tour, right? Today you have stuff like Afrochella where people actually leave wherever they are in the world, they come to Ghana and they come to visit, they enjoy the party, plus they visit the area. So it could probably start around the 1,000. Again, my idea is always around pre-selling it. There's no point of trying to book all these different airlines and hotels if you don't have nobody paying for it. So all the effort will be around marketing, sales, etc. So now, if you want to do something bigger whereby you have artists and you have celebrities, now we're talking about, 10, 20 grand probably, because you have to fly these folks over and then you have to give them their paycheck, whatever. So I'll say start small, put something small in your state, province, even country, and say, okay, I'm going to take you from this place to that place. Boom, you kill it with that small experience, you grow from there. So I would probably say, again, you can start from probably $500 to $1,000 because all those funds will be geared towards marketing and selling or pre-selling. Now, in terms of what to watch out for, I would say 3 things. 1, know what your position is. What is your target market? Are you going for female only, youth, cultural tour? Make sure you position yourself properly. 2, make sure you sell the experience. It's not just getting folks from Atlanta and down to Accra, the experience that goes with it. I know that experience is not what we Africans are best at. So there goes the opportunity to change the African narrative and tell them, hey, we too can have a great experience. We too can sell you an amazing experience going back home to the continent and visiting and everything. Number 3, I would say pick the right country. I don't think that each and every country on the continent is ready to accept, is ready to receive, is ready to take care of the type of tourism. So there's certain countries that I do have in mind that you don't want those countries to be your first testing ground. There are other countries that are more welcoming, etc. So comments below if you want my 2 cents on which country is good, which country is bad, and why. Number 5 is an interesting one. I can see it as a prerequisite, or rather a prelude to number 4. Number 5 opportunity is really putting conferences together. You can put a conference together around oil and gas in Africa, or you can put conferences together around agriculture in Africa, or you can put seminars together around a specific interest in Africa. And your goal here is to position yourself so that you bring all parties together. People who do have the interest, you can bring 2 folks together, people who are businesses in the space, and number 2, people who do have interest. I'm gonna give you a practical example. You can put together people who are recruiting, who are looking for local talent, let's just say in sports, right? Basketball, soccer, or any sport. You can put together folks over here in North America who are looking to acquire or to attract talent from Africa. Now, in terms of data and trend, this really goes back to what I've been saying throughout this video, whereby there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of interest for Africa from all different angles. Now, in terms of examples of what you could do or how you can apply this and make it more tangible, is really position yourself as the organizer, the moderator of this conference, where you could be collecting data for other folks. My personal favorite in this list is going to be number 3. Let me know what yours are in the comment below so we could talk about it. Go ahead and click on the subscribe button below, then the notification bell that would appear so that you get notified every single time I release a new video, because I believe that every video that I release will bring you closer to your goals.